In our last video, we talked about how to find places to submit. In this video, we're going to talk about the actual submission process. I have a story called The Gag that I'm going to submit today, and I've decided to submit it to Alfred Hitchcock's Mystery Magazine. I found it on Duotrope. Duotrope is a aggregator that I subscribe to, $50 a year. It allows me to do searches based on what I have and allows me to keep track of what I've submitted. So I go to the publication's website and I find the writer's guidelines. The writer's guidelines here says they want to be online submission form for fiction. Ask your name, email address, cover letter, story title, and story. Your cover letter should state a little bit about you and your publishing history briefly, and any other relevant information. All stories should be in standard manuscript format and submitted in doc format. So it's pretty clear. Makes sense to me. So I need to find online submission system. I've used this one before. New submission. Full name, that's my name. My email address. Fiction. Title of the story is The Gag. Usually want to start your cover letter with, if you tend to make typos a lot, you might want to write your cover letter in Google Docs and then switch over to this box, copy to this box. But cover letters are pretty short, and if you use Grammarly, that's my little Grammarly signal, it'll let me know if I'm making an egregious error. So, dear editors, is usually fine. If you can figure out who exactly the editor you should be sending to, then use that. But if you can't, that's fine. Something real simple. That's all you need for your first paragraph. Attached is my short story, The Gag. Next paragraph is going to be about me or about you. I like to be a little cheeky. I am a New Hampshire writer with an MFA that I exercise in dark bars and damp coffee shops. I do that, I guess, because I want people to know that I have an MFA, but I don't take it super seriously. So this paragraph kind of establishes my bona fides as a writer, New Hampshire writer for MFA. I've had some publications. You don't want to go overboard, so maybe just your last three with a hint that you've got more. If you're writing a story about a mystery or whatever that happens in a mental hospital and you happen to work in a mental hospital, this might be a good time to share that information. If you don't worry about it. If you don't have any publications, don't make them up. Just say you're a New Hampshire writer or you're a Massachusetts writer or whatever you are. If you want to say that you're a high school student or a college student or a creative writing student or whatever, that's fine. Sometimes they might take pity on you or might, at least give you a little feedback if you're a young upcoming writer looking for feedback. You've got an option with your next paragraph. The next paragraph, it's optional. And I sometimes call it the kiss-ass clause because it's a good place to say, I love Alfred Hitchcock's Mystery Magazine. I especially love the story that was published in the last issue or 2 issues ago, or whatever. And that kind of shows that you're paying attention to them and that you're reading them and that you're familiar with them. I generally don't bother with that. I send a lot of submissions out, so I don't have a lot of time for the kiss-ass clause. So generally, the last clause is going to be just a real simple thank you. Thank you for your time. And then your sign-off. So you want to check it out again and make sure you spelled everything right. So, dear editors, yep. So I got a paragraph about the story. I got a paragraph about me. I've got a paragraph about uh, me saying thank you, my thank you, and then finally my sign off. So that's good. So I'm going to choose my file. It's on my flash drive. Whoops. Short stories. It's a collection I'm working on. Make sure I get the one that's the doc that adds to it. And then I'm going to submit. So I just submitted that story to Alfred Hitchcock's Mystery Magazine. I've never submitted to Alfred Hitchcock's Mystery Magazine before, so this is kind of exciting. I go back to Duotrope because in Duotrope I can acknowledge or log a submission. And I can say on December 5th, 2017, I have a pending response for the gag, and I submitted it via Submission Manager. I'll report that. And what that does is, at least in this particular aggregator, Duotrope, and also with Submission Grinder, it allows them to keep track of submissions and allows them to give you some kind of data about submissions in progress. So if I look here, I can see 25 slowest fiction markets in our database. Yay. It takes about 116 minimum for them to report. The average is about 325.9. That's like a year. They reject in about 86, probably more, 86.79% get a standard rejection. 17.39 get a personal rejection. So the odds are not great, but we'll see how it goes. So it's got a little countdown here. I can expect a return or some kind of response back in 325.9 days, which is a long time to wait. Well, that's okay. That's what happens. So that's it. That's how you submit. And there are a couple of other submission managers, third-party software that people use. There's Submittable that people use. There's Moksha that people use. Sometimes they want you to email them, but you got to be very careful to look at these guidelines and just make sure that you follow the guidelines that they give you. Make sure if they say it in doc, you send it in doc. Make sure that the cover letter, if they ask you to state a little about you and your publishing history, do that. Sometimes they'll ask you for a bio, a third-person bio in the cover letter, and then you put that in that second paragraph that's about you. So that's about it. I wish you many happy days of submitting your work. Thanks.